Hello, this is Diane Stover of Ohio Value Voters, bringing you the first in a series of webinars about the work of the Protect Ohio Children Coalition. Over the past 3 years, we have been working to find evidence that comprehensive sex education is in Ohio schools. And we have produced 2 reports, this curriculum report and the public records report, 200 pages of information that shows, without a doubt, it's undeniable that comprehensive sex education is in the schools, curriculum produced by Planned Parenthood and their allies, harmful, dangerous materials in Ohio schools. Now, over the last 3 years, as we've been gathering this, we've been working with the National Protect Child Health Coalition. And we started basically with nothing. But as we knew this was out there, we knew it was there, but we didn't have it in a report that we could take to our legislators and to the public. And so we wanted to build reports that we could show, here's the evidence. And we started out by doing public records requests. So what we want to show you in these videos, this first video today will be an introduction, and then the other videos will be done by myself and my colleagues who are also on the National Coalition, Linda Harvey of Mission America and Kathy Boff, and we will walk you through shocking, unbelievable information that we have found and produced in these reports. So let me share my screen with you and we'll get started. Okay, this is the first report and we're calling this the Public Records Report because this is the report where we give the background of the work and then we go into the actual documentation that we've received from school districts and government agencies that have shared with us what they're doing. And so let's go to the table of contents. You can see here that we first cover the 15 harmful elements, which is our basis for our work. We're going to talk about that in this background webinar. And then we go through the Ohio Department of Education, Cuyahoga County Public Records, Cleveland, Cincinnati, Columbus, Brunswick, Grand Valley, Lebanon, Mason, Parma. These school districts we have requested through the Freedom of Information Act, information about what they're teaching. Some of the school districts did not respond. Cleveland did not respond. And then also Dayton did not respond. Lakota did not respond. Oak Hill schools responded after the report was completed. So that gives you some background about who it was that we received information from. And there's other sources of information other than public records in our reports, but these are the main ones that were requested. Page 3. We want to give you some background about what our goals are and what are we doing. First of all, our goal is to find evidence of obscenity. We have found in Ohio schools that Planned Parenthood and their allies are in the schools. This report is the tip of the iceberg. We could not survey all 612 school districts, of course, but this evidence is enough to prove and show it's out there. How widespread is it? We don't know. There's no one who is tracking this. No one is holding schools accountable, but we know we have proven in our reports that it's there and it's undeniable. Secondly, build the coalition. Through our work, we have built a coalition by having meetings across the state of Ohio. Last year, 2019, we had 18 meetings from Ashtabula to Cleveland, to Columbus, Dublin, Westerville, Cincinnati, Lebanon, From top to bottom of the state of Ohio, 18 meetings where over 1,000 people attended, gave us their contact information, and they are now keeping apprised of our work. We've been on a dozen radio stations sharing this information, talking to people, sharing news alerts, emails, people who sign up with us. Over 1,000 who attended face-to-face are now getting our email alerts and are engaged with us about our work that we're doing. This continues to grow. Ohio Value Voters has tens of thousands of people that we are communicating with. And recently we reached a milestone on our Facebook page of over 9,000 now are following us in our work on Facebook. So if you haven't signed up, please go to ohiovaluevoters.org, sign up for our emails, sign up on our Facebook page to follow us, stay apprised of this work. Our third goal is to strengthen and change Ohio law. Right now, as I said, there's no accountability for the law that's already on the books. The schools, because of federal grants that came through during President Obama, Governor Kasich, through federal grants, through Common Core, this has surged into the schools and it's there. And so our third goal is to strengthen the law and put some transparency and accountability in place to stop this scourge, to stop this indoctrination that's going on in Ohio schools. We've already, Kathy Boff, Linda Harvey, and I have already testified at the Ohio Senate against the national health standards, which are dangerous for students. And in other states, they're reeling with the effects of having standards that actually mandate comprehensive sex education. We want to make sure that Ohio is not in the same shape as California, Oregon, Washington, and other states that are out there. It's so dangerous that the move is on to put this into all of the schools and to mandate it by law. Our work says we want to change and strengthen the law. And so moving on into the report here, here's the law. Ohio Revised Code Section 3313.6011 says that education in Ohio shall emphasize that abstinence from sexual activity is the only protection that is 100% effective. And number one, it should stress that students should abstain from sexual activity until after marriage. And number two, it should teach the potential physical, psychological, emotional, and social side effects of participating in sexual activity outside of marriage. This is the law in Ohio, but this law is not being followed. And so moving on to page 4, you can see here expanded is the revised code in detail with the various bullet points. This report is on our website at ohiovaluevoters.org on the Protect Ohio Children page. Okay, this page 5 is very important. This is the basis for our work. When you say, Diane, how do you define obscene material or harmful to minors? These 15 harmful elements have been defined and have been produced by the Family Watch International Organization and with the National Protect Child Health Coalition. These harmful elements are what we're talking about with regards to Planned Parenthood and their allies teaching 15 harmful elements that should never be in our schools. And so going through those, let's walk through them. What are we talking about? Number 1, sexualizes children, normalizing child sex or desensitizing children to sexual things. It even gives examples of children having sex, or implying that many of their peers are sexually active. Number 2, teaching children to consent to sex. It may even teach them how to negotiate for sexual encounters and how to ask to get consent. In the state of Ohio, where sexual exploitation is off the charts, one of the highest numbers of sexual exploitation in the country, grooming is happening right in the classroom. Number 3, it normalizes anal and oral sex, introduces these high-risk sexual behaviors to children, and may even normalize them. Doesn't even teach them the medical facts of extreme danger and high risk to STDs or even cancer. Number 4, promotes homosexual, bisexual behavior. It promotes the acceptance of and exploration of different diverse sexual orientations, even violating state law that teaches that they should abstain, that I just showed you in 3313.6011. Number 5, teaches children sexual pleasure, teaches children about how they're entitled and have a right to sex, a sexual pleasure, and encouraging children to engage in sexual pleasure. Did you know that International Planned Parenthood at the United Nations advocates for international law that it's a human sexual right for children at birth, that they have sexual human rights at birth, and that this should be taught widespread everywhere to children about their sexual human rights? There's no law like that in the United States, and yet they teach it as though it were the law. And this is so dangerous to children. Number 6, teaches solo or mutual masturbation. Now, while this could be something that a child is here, part of their normal development, they're actually encouraging it and trying to make sexual addicts out of children, and providing instruction in how to do it, encouraging it and how to engage in it. Inappropriate in a classroom setting, inappropriate to teach children such things. Number 7, eroticizes condom use. Do you know that in some of these classrooms where they're teaching comprehensive sex education, they're actually doing role plays, and we're going to cover that in our videos, giving students medically inaccurate information about the effectiveness and just desensitizing them to the idea that there could be failure rates with condoms. Number 8, promoting early sexual independence, teaching children that they can choose to have sex whenever they're ready for it. That when they find a trusted partner, it's up to them to decide. And so that is against the law in Ohio. And they fail to provide well-documented consequences of early involvement in sexual activity. Number 9, they fail to establish abstinence as the goal. Sometimes what they do is they'll sneak it in to try to be compliant by saying, abstain, but then they'll give you all these other things that are not abstaining. They fail to establish abstinence as the expected standard for school-age children. They don't even mention abstinence in some cases, or even just in passing. This is against the law in Ohio. Number 10, promoting gender confusion. They promote and affirm and advise on the exploration of diverse gender identities. May even teach children they can change their gender. This is where all this confusion is coming in through these Planned Parenthood and their allies curriculum, comprehensive sex education in the schools, unscientific, medically inaccurate. These gender identities have nothing to do with science, and they are confusing children and causing them to make permanent, lifelong changes to their bodies. Number 11, teaching abortion and contraception, teaching them about where they can go for abortion pills or abortions or contraceptions. Ohio, a state that has a heartbeat bill, and yet they're teaching in some of our schools about how to get an abortion or contraceptive abortion pills. Number 12, promotes peer-to-peer sex education, sexual rights advocacy. They train children to teach other children that they can even, teach other children about sex and the pleasures of sex through peer-to-peer initiatives. They even recruit children to be advocates and teachers of sex education. Number 13, undermining traditional values and beliefs of parents, of what they believe and are teaching at home, and they will be in direct opposition to those values or religious values that they have regarding sex, sexual orientation, and gender identity. Number 14, they are violating and undermining parental rights, actually trying to put themselves in the place of the parents and teaching children that they are the children's advisor and friend, and don't tell your parents about what we're talking about. They won't understand. Number 15, refers children to harmful resources, websites and materials, websites that we know and we're going to share with you in our videos. Even during the COVID-19 pandemic, they were sending out from the Cuyahoga County Board of Health, sending out websites to keep the children apprised of what they need to know about sexual activity and what you should be doing with condoms, et cetera, et cetera. So these are the 15 harmful elements. When we talk about harmful information, this is what we're talking about right here in the 15 harmful elements produced by Family Watch International and the Protect Child Health Coalition. Okay, the next page, page 8, goes into the public records request that we did and was submitted to the Ohio Department of Education that we will cover in the next video. But before we finish this video, I want to show you the letter that was sent to the governor, the Senate President, Speaker of the House, and Attorney General. We sent and delivered these reports, the two reports that I showed you, the public records report, the curriculum report. And this letter went to them explaining the reports on June 1st, 2019 was when they were delivered. And we give them here an executive summary about what this information is, much like what I'm explaining to you now. And defining for them, we gave them the 15 harmful elements, told them of the dangers, about our work and how we collected this information, and how it's a small sampling of the 612 Ohio school districts, and that we found this evidence in the schools. So they've all been, we've met with them. We've met with their staff, or in some cases, we met with them personally. They know this information is out there and that it's been collected. They know about it. Okay, on page 2, we explained to them that we did the public records and that this information came back. And even with the many challenges of obtaining information, so difficult to get information. The law in Ohio is so vague about when this needs to be returned to us. It says within a reasonable amount of time. In some cases, they never returned it, but even with the challenges that we had, we did receive public records information through the Freedom of Information Act. And so we, again, we explained this in this letter to the statewide governor and other elected officials. And so here's what we said to them, our conclusions. And I'll read this to you. Ohio Value Voters urges Ohio leaders to immediately take the necessary steps to correct and require Ohio schools to follow Ohio Revised Code 3313.6011 and take actions to amend the law in the following areas. So we're asking for transparency for parents and require the school districts to give parents the ability to know the names of the sex education curriculum being used in their local schools and require the schools to make that curriculum readily available for inspection. We shouldn't have the trouble that we have had in collecting information. It should be readily available to parents and taxpayers and give parents and taxpayers recourse for noncompliance, that they have to follow this. And then also, we want accountability for the Ohio Department of Education that has no process or accountability for oversight of the local school districts for auditing sexual health curriculum. Make it necessary and codify an auditing role for the State Board of Education to audit each and every school district and post the results of compliance and non-compliance so that all parents and taxpayers can know exactly what's being taught in the schools. Lastly, we are asking that the exemptions for teachers and libraries be removed. Did you know that Ohio is one of 43 states that have statutes that provide schools and libraries with a defense against violating laws, against showing or providing obscene materials to minors? Okay, so in layman's terms, parents and, teachers and libraries, they're exempted from the obscenity laws. They can show material and have no recourse against them because they've been exempted. In 43 states in the United States, that's the case. We want to see those exemptions removed and make libraries and teachers accountable to the obscenity laws that are on the books. So this is what we're asking for. This is what we are, we've provided this to our governor, our Senate president, our Speaker of the House, and our Attorney General. We want this done. And in the upcoming videos, we're going to show you the public records information, who it came from, what it says, and show you actual curriculum proof, evidence that comprehensive sex education is in Ohio schools. It's undeniable. Thank you for watching. I know this is not good news, but it's so necessary, and we appreciate your concern. Call your senators and your state representatives and your elected officials. Let them know that you want this to stop in Ohio. And we appreciate your time and attention to all of this. We'll see you in the next video. Have a good day.